Steffi Forrester's heart pounded like a war drum as she and Dr. John Finn Finnegan crested the rocky path leading to the cliff's edge, guided only by the faint red emblazoned on Steffi's phone screen. Will Spencer's tracker finally breathing its last signal after minutes of agonizing silence. The ocean's restless roar pounded against the jagged rocks far below, sending up a veil of mist that mingled with the sweat on Steffi's brow. Above them, the piercing glare of a police helicopter's searchlight carved a stark circle of illumination into the night, revealing Luna Nozawa's silhouette perched perilously close to the precipice, one arm outstretched toward Will, who stood frozen a mere arm's length away on the slick stone. His eyes, wide with conflict, flicked between Luna's pleading face and the abyss that yawned below. Finn sprinted ahead of Steffi, his long legs eating up the distance as he called out Will. "Step back now." His voice was steady but urgent, professional and paternal all at once. Steffi, clutching the phone between them like a lifeline, felt a chill wind carry Luna's voice to their ears. "Come with me, Will. We'll jump together and be free forever. No one can touch us beyond this edge." Luna's words rang with manic devotion, her face half in shadow and half in the harsh white beam, as though two different women alternately inhabited her body. One gentle and vulnerable, the other cold and obsessive. Will's device, strapped to his belt at Steffi's insistence, had fallen silent here, and she knew every second of delay could be the difference between saving her cousin's life and watching him disappear into that black gulf. Finn extended his hand toward Will, who took a hesitant step backward, eyes flicking to Steffi, whose hands trembled as she fumbled with the tracker's coordinates. "Please, Luna," Steffi shouted, her voice cracking with fear. "This isn't you. This isn't what you want." But Luna merely laughed, a brittle, hollow sound that echoed across the cliffs, and turned her gaze toward the helicopter overhead. In the bright circle of light, her face was a mask of triumph. "You think you've won, Steffi Forrester? You think sending your precious cousin here under the guise of safety will stop me? I'm not the architect of this plan. I'm just a pawn." The word struck Steffi like a physical blow. Pawn. Luna's shoulders sagged sliver by sliver as though in relief. Then she pivoted to Will and said softly, "Look at me, Will. You've been a fool, carrying messages and secrets back to your family. You don't even know whose orders you're fulfilling." Finn's medical instincts kicked in. He took another step forward, his hands raised in calm authority. "Luna, if you'll let Will go, we can talk. We can help you. There's no need for this to end in tragedy." Luna's eyes glinted with something unreadable, rage, fear, or perhaps the cold calculation of someone who had been hurt too deeply to trust kindness. She shook her head and said, "You think I want to die here? No. My real target waits in the shadows. The one who puppeteered every move, who pitted me against my own sister, who discarded me when I was a child. This cliff is nothing but a stage. And tonight, that puppet master will see just how far I've come." At her words, Finn's blood ran cold. Steffi, clutching her chest as though to brace herself, took a faltering step forward and demanded, "Who sent you? Who is behind this?" Luna's laugh turned to a whisper carried away by the wind. "If I told you, would you even believe me? Look around you, Steffi Forrester. All your power, your creations, your influence. None of it protects you from the ones who hide behind your enemies." Meanwhile, the helicopter's spotlight traced Luna's retreat as she slipped back from the edge, her silhouette merging with the darkness beyond the beam. Will stumbled forward, propelled by Finn's arms, as Steffi grabbed his hand, her tears glinting in the harsh light. Behind them, the night swallowed Luna's form, leaving only the echo of her words and the crystalline shards of her threat hanging in the air. In the seconds that followed, as the police rushed in under the chopper's thrum and Finn crouched beside Will to check him for shock, Steffi's mind raced with the implications. Luna, a pawn, someone more dangerous and far more cunning behind the scenes. She pictured the gleaming boardroom at Forrester Creations, the hush of Ridge's study in Il Giardino, Katie Logan at her desk. Any one of them could have unwittingly come under the sway of a master manipulator who watches from the shadows, pulling strings unseen. Finn helped Will to a crouch, murmuring reassurance, but Steffi's gaze stayed fixed on the cliffs where Luna had vanished. She replayed Luna's words over and over. "I'm just a pawn." Pawn to whom? Pawn to what? And for every heartbeat, she felt the chill certainty that this was only the opening act of a drama that would unfold across the hearts and lives of everyone she held dear. As sirens wailed and flashlights scoured the darkness, Steffi knew that the search for the puppet master would eclipse anything they had faced before. It would take every ounce of courage, every resource of the Spencer and Forrester alliance, and a willingness to confront the darkest recesses of greed, betrayal, and vengeance. Beneath the roar of the Pacific and the pounding blades of the helicopter, one thing was clear. Luna's cliffside gambit had exposed a threat so profound that rescuing her would be only the first step. And this night on the cliffs would be remembered not as the end of a crisis, but as the moment a far more dangerous game truly began. Steffi felt her heart constrict into a fist as the full horror of Luna's ultimatum washed over her. Will's life in exchange for her blessing of a bond that would upend everything she believed about family, legacy, and loyalty. Only hours before, Steffi and Finn had believed their rescue of Will at the cliff's edge had shattered Luna's grip on reality, that her confession of being just a pawn hinted at a plot they alone could unravel and stop. Instead, Luna had vanished into the night, leaving behind only her chilling words and a threat even more insidious, unless Ridge Forrester legally recognized Luna as his daughter, his secret, long, buried child. And unless Finn formally accepted her as his own, Will would perish in captivity, hidden somewhere beneath the city lights of Los Angeles, denied air, hope, and the warmth of his family's devotion. The demand struck Steffi like a blow to the chest. Ridge had never known of Luna's existence until she emerged in their lives, and Steffi, who had sacrificed so much to protect Finn's family and legacy, now faced the unthinkable. Offering up her husband's name, her father's name, to validate Luna's bloodline in exchange for saving her cousin's life. She stood in Ridge's study, the faint echo of that demand looping in her mind, as Ridge cradled a photograph of himself with Taylor on their wedding day, oblivious to the secret child he had fathered in a remote corner of the world. Finn, torn between the oath he had taken to heal and the new oath he felt to protect his son Will. And to repair the damage done by secrets, watched Steffi's face as she wrestled with the choice. The silence between them stretched like a chasm as Steffi made her decision. She would accede to Luna's terms. She would sign the papers that would acknowledge Luna as Ridge's daughter, appointing Luna as Ridge's legal heir alongside Steffi's own children, and Finn would adopt Luna formally, calling her his daughter, his own child of his heart and blood. It was a concession that would fragment her soul, betray Ridge's trust, and rewrite the Forrester legacy, but the alternative, Will lost forever, was a cost she could not bear. With trembling hands, Steffi drafted the letters of acknowledgement, her signature a promise made under duress, but born of love for her family. Ridge, stunned by the revelation that he might have a child he never knew and compelled by the need to save Will, placed his seal on the document. Finn, voice thick with emotion, performed a makeshift ceremony, welcoming Luna into his arms as if she were his own flesh and bone. The moment the papers were signed and the vows spoken, an encrypted message pinged on Steffi's phone, GPS coordinates for a derelict warehouse down by the docks, where Luna indicated Will's life would be released to them. As the Forrester, Finnegan rescue team mobilized, Steffy wondered whether saving Will would truly set them free, or whether the price she had paid would demand even greater sacrifices in the days to come. Under flickering fluorescent bulbs in the cavernous warehouse, Steffy, Finn, Ridge, and a squad of Los Angeles PD officers arrived to find Will bound to a steel beam, bruised but alive, his eyes lighting up at the sight of his rescuers. Beside him stood Luna, her face drawn in exhaustion, but softened by gratitude, as though the bond she now shared with Ridge and Finn had eased the years of abandonment she had endured. When Ridge stepped forward to cradle Luna in a tentative embrace, Steffy felt an unfamiliar pang of compassion for the sister who had once threatened them all. Yet even in the moment of reunion, a tension stirred in Steffy's chest. Luna's victory, won through terror and blackmail, left a bitter tang in her mouth. Will, supported by Finn, staggered free of his bonds and rushed to Steffy, thanking her with raw relief in his voice. Steffy held him close as Ridge knelt to check his wounds, and Luna stood at Ridge's side, her eyes brimming with tears that seemed both triumphant and mournful. It was a tableau of fractured families reknit by desperation, of secrets laid bare under the weight of a child's peril, and Steffy knew another reckoning lay ahead. When Ridge would have to justify publicly that a second daughter existed, when Finn would have to face the Forrester board to legitimize Luna's place at his side, and when the world would watch to see if the fragile peace they had forged in that warehouse could withstand the storm they had unleashed. Back at Forrester Creations the next morning, the corridors thrummed with the rumor of Ridge's secret daughter and Finn's adoption of Luna Nozawa. Katie Logan confronted Steffy in the marble-faced lobby, her eyes sharp as she asked how Steffy could knowingly upend the Forrester name for the sake of one nephew. Steffy's voice was steady but resolute as she explained that some sacrifices were worth any price, that blood ties could bind a family more tightly than years of trust, and that without Will among them, none of them would matter at all. At Il Giardino that evening, Ridge faced a hushed dinner crowd. A select gathering of family and board members who had been called in on the secret told of Luna's existence and the extraordinary measures taken to save Will. Taylor reached for Ridge's hand under the table, offering support as Ridge addressed the room. He spoke of destiny, of mistakes made out of love and ignorance, and of the hope that he and Taylor could now expand their family to include a daughter whose life had been marked by loss, but who would now inherit the Forrester spirit. Luna sat beside Finn, her posture poised but vulnerable, a living testament to the power of recognition and the cost of hidden truths. As champagne flutes clinked in a toast to new beginnings, Steffy watched Luna's face in the glow of the candelabra, remembering the girl who had threatened them on the cliff and marveling at the child who now smiled with open warmth at her father and adoptive father alike. In that charged moment, Steffy realized that saving Will had not simply spared one life. It had shattered the illusion of control they had clung to and forced them all to reckon with the messy, unpredictable depth of family. Whether that reckoning would heal old wounds or create new ones remained to be seen, but for now, as laughter and tentative applause filled the room, Steffy allowed herself a cautious hope. Perhaps from this sacrifice could emerge a stronger bond, a truer legacy, one born of acceptance, however painful the path. And a family rebuilt on the hard truth that sometimes love demands everything you have.